Welcome back to 6-Minute Math, where we turn confusion into clarity 6 minutes at a time. Thank you for joining us today for our video on Pythagorean Theorem. Ring that bell to get notified of more 6-minute content coming your way. We do not have a lot of time in our 6 minutes, so let's get going. Our key points today for the Pythagorean Theorem are just steps to solve for an unknown side of a right-angled triangle. Our first step is to label this triangle. We are going to label it with A, B, and C. I always like to start with the C, which is our hypotenuse in this right-angled triangle. The hypotenuse is the longest side. And how do we know it's the hypotenuse? It is directly across from that right angle. That will always be our C side. Then we're going to label the other two legs, which are the sides attached to the right angle. And we're going to label them A and B. Now, using the Pythagorean theorem, it actually does not matter which side is A or B. So feel free to label them however you feel like. As long as you get the hypotenuse correct, everything will work out. Our second step is to set our formula. And our formula for Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. We're going to plug our numbers in that we are given. And then lastly, we're going to solve for that unknown. So let's check out some examples here. We're going to solve for x in the following right angle triangle. And I'm going to have my steps up to help me. So my first step is to label my triangle. We always label that hypotenuse first. And then we're going to use A and B. And again, it doesn't matter which one is A, which one is B. So my label is checked. Then I'm going to set my formula. I always like to write my formula out first. We have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Our a is 6 and our b is 4. So we have 6 squared plus 4 squared equals c squared. 6 squared is 36. Plus 4 squared is 16, and that's going to equal c squared. 36 plus 16 is 52, and that's going to equal c squared. And then lastly, I need to get rid of this square. So the opposite is going to be a square root. So I'm going to square root both sides, and that's going to isolate for c. C is going to be the square root of 52, which after plugging that into a calculator, C is equal to 7.21110 ... And my question's asking me to round it to the nearest tenth. So x in this case, because that's what I'm solving for, is equal to 7.2. Let's check out another example here. We're going to solve for x in the following. So I have my steps again. I always start with labeling. So we have C. I'll write that one as B, right, this case, and A. And then I set my formula. So we have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. In this case, I know my A and my C. So we have 5 squared plus b squared equals 11 squared. 5 squared is 25 plus b squared equals 11 squared is 121. And then we're isolating for b. So my first step is going to be to subtract 25 from both sides, which leaves me with b squared equals 96. And then my last step is I'm going to square root both sides to get rid of this square, leaving me with b equals 9.79795. And then I'm solving for x rounded to the nearest hundredth. So x is going to be equal to 9.80. On to our last example here. We have a word problem. A 10-foot ladder is placed up against a house. The base of the ladder is 4.2 feet away from the base of the house. How far up the house does the ladder reach rounded to the nearest tenth? So while it's a little different, nothing much changes, except my first step is going to be draw this triangle. So I have a 10-foot ladder. We're going to do that ladder right here. And this is 10 feet. And it is 4.2 feet away from the base of the house. Then it's asking us for how far up the house does it measure. So I'm going to write an X. I've drawn my triangle. Now I'm going to label. We have C, A, and B. We're going to set our formula. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. A is unknown, plus 4.2 squared equals 10 squared. A squared plus 4.2 squared is 17.64, and that's going to equal 100. We're going to subtract 17.64 from both sides, which gives us a squared equals 82.36. And then our last step, we're going to square root both sides for a equals 9.0752. We're looking for our x in this scenario rounded to the nearest tenth. So x is equal to 9.1 feet. Those are all the examples we have today for Pythagorean Theorem. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at 6 Minute Math, and like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment below for any topic you want to see me tackle in a future 6-minute episode. Always remember that the best way to get math is to practice math, so keep on practicing. And until next time, keep solving and evolving.